Welcome, friends. Today we're going to be spending some time with a lady, Brittany, who, with her partner, experienced something very horrific in the last few days of her life. And I guess this is also going to help people to realize that anywhere in the world, this situation can happen to you. So we're here to support Brittany and her partner. They've been robbed. She'll tell the story in a minute. And lots of their property has been taken from them. They're documentary film producers. They're on a mission to do artistic work for the world, and they happen to be in Mexico, and this happened in Mexico. It can happen in any country, guys. And I think you did say as well, Brittany, that you've had worse situations in Canada, where you're from, right? Over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing my story. So if anybody, have any questions or anything like that, while I share, I'm happy to, pause and so forth. But yeah, essentially, I guess I'll dive right into what happened. So maybe just share a little bit about like what we were doing and what kind of got us into the situation. So my boyfriend and I, he's a music producer and I'm a lyricist and singer, like a songwriter and singer. So we've been producing our own original music for a while now. And this is actually our first track that's going to go live. So we had to film the music video before the song hits like global, basically, all the streaming sites and everything. So we had just a few days to do it. So he packs up all of his camera and film equipment. He's also a filmmaker in Mexico. And his last film, The Red Box, won International Film Festival, the Rohip Festival. So we're on deadline to actually apply to festivals and everything else. So we're like on a mission over the next few months. We had a big plan for 2026. So we set off on Friday that just passed around 3 in the afternoon, about an hour and a half away from where we live, which is Jalapa, Veracruz. And we head up to a lagoon that we've never been to called, like in an area called Laguna El Chichica. It's about on the border of Puebla and Veracruz, but that was something we actually weren't aware of that it was on the border. We just knew it was about an hour and a half away. So we get to the lagoon and it's about 3 minutes off the highway. Like it's not very far in, it's not very remote or anything else. And it is absolutely beautiful. Like if I tell you this lagoon is stunning, we couldn't believe there was no one there. And nothing seemed sketchy about it at all. But we were like, wow, no one's here. Like, we should come and picnic. This is like the most beautiful lagoon. We took so many photos right before the event happened. Um, and so we basically get to the lagoon. We're driving a little bit around it, looking for the ideal spot for our music video. And as we're parking and getting set up and everything, maybe like 10, 15 minutes after we get there, my boyfriend's like starting to set up the camera equipment in the back, and I'm just kind of like, getting my clothes ready and everything else. And then a motorcycle passes by on the dirt road behind us. And at first, my boyfriend had a little bit of apprehension just because they kind of came a bit quickly. And it was a man and a woman. But as soon as we saw that it was a man and a woman, and it seemed completely nondescript, like just a couple that was also coming to the lagoon or something, right? So we didn't think much of it. He continues to set up his camera equipment. And within, I mean, I didn't look at the time, but within a minute and a half to 3 minutes max, later, we just hear a screeching tire and a motorcycle is coming like at hella fast speed right at us to before we even had a chance to react. Like the whole thing happened so quickly. They just jump off of the motorcycle. They're completely covered. There was more guys involved, but I'll tell you the rest of that later. But at first, it was just those two guys on the motorcycle. We don't see anything. They're wearing glasses, they have hats, they're wearing like masks. Like there's no skin or anything that we can see. They have gloves, and it's just two guns in our faces. Don't move. Tell her to be quiet in Spanish, though. And give me everything. What do you have? So I mean, I was shocked, you guys. Like, I don't even know. Both of us froze. One of the guys actually kind of like hit him in the ribs. Um, but I hadn't actually noticed that at the time. But when we did our statement just earlier today, he mentioned that. So one of the guys was a bit violent with him, but so far nobody had touched me or anything. Um, and then they basically start taking, oh, sorry. I heard something.
Pete, you need to mute. Peter, you need to mute. Okay,
Okay,
continue.
sorry. No worries. So they start taking stuff out of the car. And I mean, I'm just staring at them, you guys. Like, I was completely terrified, but also you're stunned. Like, the main feeling before you're even scared is like, is this actually effing happening right now? You know? So we were both kind of stunned. And he was like, take everything that you want. Don't touch us. Don't harm us. You can even take the car. Like, I mean, what are you going to do? Right. Now, this must have been the biggest win on earth for these robbers because we had like over $10,000 in camera equipment, all of his cine equipment. We're doing a professional cinema grade music video. So we have two guitars, tons of clothes, all kinds of equipment, stands. Like, I mean, the moment to be robbed couldn't have been worse. Like the loss was catastrophic, but this was not the traumatic part yet. So anyways, we start giving the guys everything and they're opening the camera equipment. They grabbed obviously our phones, my jacket, purses, everything within seconds. That was the first thing they took. And then they're clearing out everything from my truck. Once they take everything, like they went inside the back of the car, they started grabbing really weird stuff from the car. Like I had a green like microfiber cloth to kind of like wipe the windows, you know. They took that. That seemed like important to them. Anyway, they took literally everything, every penny out of the car, and we figured they're going to take the car and leave us on foot. Like they took the shoes, everything. They were like crazy. So, you know, we thought it was going to end there, right? Like a quick robbery, and then they go. And this is actually the part that is going to be a bit like harder to share. But anyway, what happened next was really the scary part. Once they had all of our stuff, they tied up my boyfriend's hands with that green microfiber cloth, but so tight that it was like cutting circulation. And he was like, you really don't need to tie us up, you know? And they were like, you just tell your amorcito, like your love, whatever, to be quiet. They looked at me, they put the gun to their mouth, and they were like, shh. I wasn't saying anything. Like, not a peep had come out of me. I was so stunned. And I didn't want to make the situation worse. Also, my Spanish is not strong. I only really understood half of what was happening. My boyfriend told them I'm Canadian. I don't speak any Spanish. I don't have any money, to only talk and deal with him. And if they had any questions for me, that he himself would translate and whatever. So they tie up his hands right away. I start like actually freaking out at this point. Not, it's not just a robbery now. I'm like, why are they tying him up? Like I started to literally panic, kind of thinking that they were like after me at this point. There really was no reason for it. They could have even taken the car and just left, you know? And then they take the gun, put it to me, shove me like really hard into the back of the car. And I was like, oh my God, please don't put me in the car. Like at least put him in. Like at this point, he's also panicking and he's like, you better put me in the car with her, you know? So they stick him also in the car with me. Thank goodness. Then one of the guys takes off with a bunch of the stuff on the motorbike. The other guy, he actually put some of the stuff back in the trunk, I'm pretty sure. Honestly, it all happened so quickly. So don't quote me on that, but I think he stuck some of the stuff back in our truck. The other guy took the rest on a motorbike. They get inside the one of the guys gets inside the car. He's driving. He's holding the gun like this while he's driving. He says, don't say a single word. He just kept telling my boyfriend to tell me to stay calm, to tell me that I was going to be okay, to tell me not to worry. It was honestly so creepy. And so anyway, it got way creepier. But so then he starts taking us like around the lagoon, but on this like back alley off-roading excursion, basically. It's not a road, it's just like a bunch of rocks, like and craters, and we're like the cars like, you know, a third sideways. And he's smashing around the car like this, like driving at full speed on what is not a road. It's like rocks and gravel and the car's getting smashed up. Me and him are tossing around in the back. I'm like desperate to try to undo the microfiber cloth, which oddly enough, they managed to tie really tightly. And I was trying to do it in a way where like the burglar wouldn't notice. And then he kept like my boyfriend was like, you really don't need to take us. Like, where are you taking us? And he looked at me, and this was the part that like literally is probably the worst of all of it. My boyfriend looked at me and he was like, I am so sorry. Like, I have no idea what's happening. I'm so sorry I brought you here. Like, I love you. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm going to do everything I can. And this is when I froze and I really realized like it's not normal. Well, I obviously knew it wasn't normal for them to take us somewhere, but like they already have our stuff. They already robbed us. They could have just taken the car. If robbery is what they were after, like they already had it, you know? So I really started panicking. Like I've never in my life had such a strong like cortisol, adrenaline, panic, fear-based surge. Like I almost felt like I was going to black out. My legs start shaking uncontrollably up and down, like just from like the fear of it. And we're both just looking at each other like, and I'm literally thinking frantically, like, I mean, I can't explain you guys. Like I was looking out the window, I turned to him and I was like, maybe we should just open the doors and roll out. But like we were already like in the middle of nowhere, kind of, and he was like, no, 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 just like let's just give them what they want. Like if it gets really crazy, then we try to flee, kind of thing. And the guy just keeps telling us to like shut up and stop talking in the back. He gets on the phone. He's still driving us. This was like a 30-minute excursion, like in the middle of nowhere. It was so creepy. So anyway, he gets on the phone and he's frantically speaking to like another guy and then another guy, and he's telling them that he has us and he's coordinating with them where to meet them. And like the whole time, like the panic, guys, like I can't. It wasn't even the robbery, the losing the stuff, the money lost. It's like being taken somewhere. And there's another thing too, like I'm going to deviate a little bit. This explains kind of the context. A sister, like my older sister, basically had a friend in Canada, and her and her boyfriend went to Mexico a long time ago, like 15 years ago. But the story was the exact same. They like literally got robbed. Then they tied up the guy, put him in a car, took the guy and the girl to a remote area. Then they beat the shit out of the guy and like tied him and held him while they each took their turn gang raping the girl, and then literally took her off and shot him while he was screaming. Like that is the story I have in my mind when this is happening, and it's like the exact same thing. And so the like level of panic surge and seeing the panic in my boyfriend's face. But anyway, so he's coordinating with some guys where to take us. And he finally decides to turn off this like crazy not road that he was taking and starts driving us through like some weird semi woods, semi desert. There's no big trees. There's the occasional tree. There's massive rocks and boulders, like 3 times bigger than the car, kind of thing. He clearly knew where he was going. And then he parks us finally. And there's like little cactus baby plants everywhere that they use for, I don't know, some kind of like liquor here or something. And he just parks the car like that, like in the middle of literally nowhere. And now the lagoon is who knows where. I'm looking all around. There's like literally nothing. And there's another motorcycle. There's like a car of 2 people parked just up the way on this side. There's people standing guard on the other side, like that we passed. And then there's like the motorcycle dude that was with him that was driving us originally, the first 2 guys. And then literally like they're like, get out of the car. So we both get out of the car and they start kind of like frisking us and just going through all of our stuff, again, going through the car, asking a bunch of questions. Like they start asking my boyfriend like all kinds of questions about me, like how long do you know her? Where is she from? Like, is she famous? Does she know a lot of people here? Does she have family here? Do you love her? Like, just what does she do for a living? Like all kinds of questions that are like, I was just like, why the hell are they asking so much stuff about me? And then I start to really realize that like this situation seems like it's like actually about me. And I thought it was just a robbery. So, and my boyfriend's like, forget about her. She has no money. Like, I pay for everything. Like, he even said things like, let's be real. Would she even be with me if I wasn't paying for everything? Like, God bless his soul. Oh my God. Like, I think the things he said and the way he humanized me is like actually why I'm here now to tell the story. But yeah, so essentially he starts saying like that he's really in love with me. I have tons of family here. His mom knows we're here. We're only here for a music video. Like he's known me for years. I live with him. Like, the whole country knows me, like, but stuff like that. And then I'm a really good person and all this stuff. And he's humanizing me. And he was like, please, like, don't do anything to her. I will give you anything you want. Like, you can literally take anything you want. And the guy's looking at me and I'm just like staring at them, like, what is happening? So they basically force me back into the car and they say, you in the car. So they leave me in the front seat of the car. They take my boyfriend to the trunk. They open the trunk again. They take out the whatever stuff they put back in the car or whatever stuff they had on the floor there. I could only see through the rearview mirror and hear half of what they were saying, but I was staring like this the whole time. Oh my God. Um, and basically, he starts going through, my purse, our wallets, every item in my purse, like everything they've acquired. And they start asking my boyfriend, like, how much is this worth? Like all his camera equipment, his gimbal, his gear, his drone, like just every little thing, like every piece of jewelry they found in my purse. Like, what's the value of this? What's the value of that? Like trying to get some kind of value amount, which is so strange for a robbery, if you want my honest opinion. Like, it was just very creepy. Um, they told us like that if they let us go, not to report us. They were like, "We'll let you go after this, but don't report it. We're part of the cartel, and like our bosses, this, that, and the other thing, are gonna kill you." Blah blah blah. So at least we're starting to have a little hope at this point that like maybe they'll actually let us go. But we were actually there at that remote little jungle desert area, if you will, for like about 2 hours, I think was the rough timeline of it. So it was really dragged out and long. But so they go through all the stuff. They get like a dollar value for everything. And then they start taking like photos of our IDs. But thank goodness my boyfriend, every time they started to take photos of my IDs, he would like distract them with something. Like he'd be like, oh, wait, I think that's actually worth this. Or like, so in the end, I think they don't actually have photos of my IDs. There's a silver lining to the story. I'll share it with you guys at the end. It's like crazy, actually, how it all happened. Very strange and bizarre. But yeah, so they were going through all of our stuff, whatever. And then they make my boyfriend. So all the while that this is happening, I'm inside the car and the other guy, like the guy that was with this driver that's dealing with my boyfriend, is in the car, like tossing me side to side, but not letting me get out of the car and literally going through my pockets like 20 times, like frantically going through the glove compartment like 10 different times, lifting and ripping everything off the floor of the car. Like there was already nothing in the car, but this guy's like still looking for more things. And so there's one guy in the car with me, like shuffling around everything. And like every 5 minutes, he puts the gun in my face and he's like, say nothing. I like did not say a word the entire freaking time. Like, what am I going to say? Like, what a nice day, Like, what do you even say in that situation? And the entire time, not that this is that relevant, but just to add to like the context, I had to pee so bad, you guys. Like right before those guys showed up, I was like looking for a spot to pee while I was like looking with my eyes. I wasn't physically going yet. And then when they robbed us, like so this entire time I'm like bursting to pee, and just but anyway. That's kind of like irrelevant, I guess. But yeah, it was pretty uncomfortable. And when you're scared, it like makes it even worse. But yeah, so then they make my boyfriend open up his phone, like give the passcode and everything. They give him back his phone. They're standing there with the gun like to his head, and they're like, open up all your bank apps. So they make him open every single one of his bank apps and like sign in and show the exact amount, like balance on the credit card, money in each and every single one of his apps, like that are Mexican banks. Then they were like, transfer everything to this one account, or two accounts, I think. They wanted it to be like in two of his accounts. And then they basically sent the guy that was like shuffling around the car with me, and another guy came and was just kind of like standing watch. And that guy leaves to go to the bank with my boyfriend's cards to like pull out cash from his accounts, like basically to max out and draw everything from his account. So they have us waiting there for an hour. In the meanwhile, the other guy is like asking us even more questions. Well, my boyfriend, not me, but they're basically like asking like how we met. And he was like, we met in Tulum. And they're like, well, how? And he's like, I was making a music video for her, kind of like right now. And they were like, what kind of music video? Like just weird questions that are like irrelevant, But anyway, so there was like a whole conversation going on with them. But there was like a bit of a pause on the robbery, if you will, while the other guy went to do the run. The remaining guy kept getting on the phone and telling some other guy exactly what he had. He was giving him like an inventory as well as the price quote that we had given for each one of these items, and what they were worth. My boyfriend actually lowballed the value of the items because he was like, these guys are morons. And he wanted, if they sell the equipment, that they don't get a lot of money for it. He was like actually being really strategic considering I could see how terrified he was. So yeah, this is basically it. Like this went on for a substantial period of time. And then the guys came and made me open my phone and tried to drain all of my bank accounts and apps and everything. And my boyfriend was like, she's Canadian. All of her banks and her banking information are tracked. Like they will send an alert to Canada. And my main business bank is in the United States, and it's a really uncommon bank. And that is the only bank app that I have on my phone. I have a Mexican bank account, but there's no app on my phone for it. And I have honestly no money in that one. I get all my money through the States. And then I have a Canadian credit card and a Canadian debit card, and all of which they didn't recognize the banks or institutions. And so he basically said, like, you can try taking her cards, but the second a credit card gets flagged, like she will have to approve it. And she doesn't even have any of that information. Like everything's through her laptop and her credit card has no money on it. Like she's literally living off of me, which is not actually true, but regardless, I'm glad he said that. And they didn't recognize any of the banks. He's like, there's no banks here. Like you can't drain her accounts. And this is the silver lining. I don't know how my boyfriend did it. I'm so freaking grateful because we wouldn't even be able to eat or do anything if this didn't happen, and my whole business would be in ruins. He managed somehow to logically convince these psychotic meth crackhead acting robbers to give me back my cards. He's like, give her back her house keys, give her back her cards. You're not going to use them. You don't need them. So these lunatics gave me back my cards. Well, they gave my cards to him. So he put them in his pocket. And they kind of got off that bandwagon. But then they made me open my phone again because it kept going on like, you have to put the code in every like 5 minutes or whatever. And then they start going through like all my WhatsApp messages and they start going through all my personal photos and like asking me like, who's this? Who's that? Who's this? And like, it was very bizarre. They were kind of like they didn't do that in his phone. But so they were like playing around in my phone for a period of time. And I forget if it was two or three guys at this point. Like if the other guy came back, honestly, I was so stressed out that like the end was a little bit more like fuzzy for me. And so anyway, in the end, at the very, very, very end, they realized that I have these three rings and I'm still holding my phone. And they were like, they grabbed my phone back and my boyfriend said something crazy, and I can't believe it worked. But he basically turns to them and said, you just made the most money on probably a robbery in your entire life. Let's be real. This was like the biggest win for you. You have terrorized the crap out of my girl. She's literally shaking and like white as a ghost. You've ransacked and ruined the car. You've taken every penny from me, leaving me bankrupted and literally unable to make any money because you've just taken all my equipment. Like you've basically ruined our entire lives. And he said that he was the breadwinner. And he was like, "Can you let the girl keep her phone?" He's like, "Take her rings." Because they were so frantic, they didn't even notice my rings. My rings were worth not much anyway. One was a black like a tourmaline protection stone or like a shungite protection stone, and the other ones were just like family heirlooms, but not worth that much. And somehow he managed to convince them, and the guys actually gave me back my cell phone and took my rings. And then they forced us back into the back of my car. They told us they were going to let us go, but they still made us get back into the back of the car. And then I thought they were going to, like, I don't know, bring us somewhere else, but they actually brought us to this like creepy gravel road that was maybe like 5, 6 minutes away. Got out of the car, told us that two guys were going to follow us for 3 towns home and that we had to take this path back to the highway. And they were going to follow us to make sure that I didn't call anybody, that we didn't flag police, that we didn't like stop anywhere or do anything that could incriminate them until they had time to get away. And so they basically left us in the car. And when the guy got out of our car and was like, "Here's your car keys, you can go," with basically my cards, my phone, nothing else. Um, they even took our jackets and everything. Like it was so freaking cold, you guys. Like it was up north, it was freezing. This is how cold it is here now inside my house. There's no heaters in Mexico. I was like, so that's it. Basically, we got in the car, and this is where a truck of two guys, they might have been the guys that were like watching on one side, but it was hard to identify the cars. A big blue pickup truck, relatively new, starts speeding after us, but like aggressively, like as if they're literally trying to run us over. So we were like trying to drive, like my boyfriend was so like stressed out, but at least we were like getting away at this point. So We drove, that car followed us for like, I don't know, at least a town or two. And all the while, I just wanted to stop and pee at OXXO. And like, at least now that I had my phone, message Jared was the first person I wanted to message. We were just talking about him. He's my family, like my best friend. I was like, oh my God. Like the entire time that I was there in the car, like while they were dealing with him, like in the desert area, all I kept thinking in my head was like, my family is never gonna know I'm missing. Like no one will know what happened to me. I won't be able to message Jared. I was like bargaining in my mind. What if they shot my boyfriend? Like how I would like fight them. What if they took me? But I think the thing that was like most painful for me was actually just the thought that like I could completely go missing and I know my family would literally like never get over it and they'd be looking for life and especially Jared. I was just like, oh, I need to at least message Jared, you know? So I was imagining in my mind that I would at least like bargain with the burglars before they kill me to at least let me send a message to him to be like, this is what's happening. Don't look forever, you know, just move on or something. So anyway, I was like dying to get on the phone and call someone just to be like, we're okay, you know, and so, but we didn't. We didn't do anything. We just sat there in the car with them like speeding down the highway behind us. And then when we finally felt like we lost them, we stopped at like I think a Fasty or an OXXO or something to pee. And then just to go inside and like rinse our faces. And that was it. We basically drove home. And when we got home, we got inside the door. Like I think we were still in the car. I don't even know, but like we did it like all night. We just started like hugging each other and like crying. And my boyfriend kissed me like all over my face. And he was like, I'm so happy you're okay. Like, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I brought you there. Like, I'll never bring you anywhere like that again. Like, I had no idea. We'll never go anywhere without like armed people. And yeah, he was really devastated. And then obviously we like started the process of canceling his cards and trying to cancel his phone and trying to freeze his drone and all of that. So now we're in the aftermath of rebuilding, but essentially besides the trauma itself, like we were in the middle of that movie that we're on deadline for. We have actors on standby and everything else. Like we have no equipment for anything. The song's going to launch like without a music video. And the most messed up part about this is that the song is called War with You. Like war with you. And we literally went through a war and can't even like make the video. But so now we're just like basically in ruins. I'm putting every penny I had on my cards, obviously like all my savings, maxing my credit cards. I took out a line of credit and we're trying to basically raise money to just buy back the equipment so we can continue our projects. If we lose access to the actors, one of them is like leaving to go on a work project in Europe, I think, and like we only have the crew for a period of time. Like we're just not even going to be able to get into the film festivals. We've been working on this for 6 months. Like the whole thing just feels really devastating. It's beyond just the money. And actually, we've already received like more than half the money to rebuy the equipment between like family and friends and my following and my work members, like my We've All Tried members and everything else. So yeah, it's actually been kind of a beautiful silver lining, but it's just been like a haze. This literally happened 3 days ago, and I've barely slept. Like the squirrel that always crosses over my roof. I live in this cabin in the woods, and there's like a macadamia tree right outside. He like scurries across the roof, and it's just like so making me jump now. And I always thought it was so cute. So we're just in the process of like recovering emotionally. Obviously, like putting our statements out and just trying to get them to do something at that lagoon. Like maybe they catch the guys, maybe they don't, but at least they can like scour around the area so this like never happens to anybody else because I know at the end of the day, like we're gonna be fine. We'll get our camera equipment back. Like our everything with timing will happen as it's supposed to, like in divine timing. But like the thought that there's gonna be like some other girl that has to live that because my boyfriend was really terrified, but even he said that like the terror he was feeling was beyond just like losing equipment, which is not even, I mean, it sucks, but that's not really terrifying. It's more just like kind of violating and stressful, you know? And or even the risk to his life, but like he literally felt like the risk was like for me mainly, you know? And I think it's hard to like explain to a man. Like women's minds are very different. Like we don't look at things as like directly and linearly. Like we're always scanning for danger. And, I've lived a lot of trauma in my life and I'm already a little bit of like a hyper vigilant person, but I like didn't sense there was like nothing in my intuition that told me that like this was going to happen, you know? And so yeah, now I'm almost like questioning like myself, like how come I didn't sense that this was going to happen or like get any kind of like it was just so sudden, but I guess this happens to people. But yeah, I just want to like raise awareness and most of all, like I would love if they just like I don't know, planted undercover cops at the lagoon and like caught these burglars. Like they clearly had an entire path and strategy. Like this wasn't just like a one-off. They were colluding a bunch of people. This was like a whole kind of like organization. And I imagine we're not the only tourists who've lived this. And many people are scared to report it because there's so much corruption in Mexico and all of that. So anyway, I did a video on my YouTube channel, Montreal Healthy Girl. If anybody wants like safety tips, or we can also talk about that here. I don't know how deep you want me to get into everything, but like things I learned through this experience that I wish I had known, like kind of like what they do when they're robbing you, what's normal, what to expect, how to react, how to behave, and also things that I've since learned and realized like we should walk with burner phones. Like we shouldn't have all our bank apps on our phones. We should never go anywhere that doesn't have a ton of people with all of our like camera gear and equipment and even just like, the original guy and girl on the motorcycle, had it been two guys, we would have been more alerted. But because it was like a kind of a Mexican couple, like, as soon as you see a girl with a guy, it like kind of humanizes the guy and you right away don't think like this girl's a burglar. It's just like our human instinct, I guess, tells us that that's less like sketchy. But as it turns out, they do that a lot. They send like two women or a man and a woman looking innocent to kind of like scout and see if you really have anything, cameras, whatever, like if you have guns. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they do, but I learned kind of a little bit more throughout this. And had I known that they were just taking us there to drain our accounts, which I'm still not sure of because of how interested in my life they were. It was very bizarre. I feel like they were sizing up whether I was worth taking, whether there'd be repercussion to take me, whether I came from a wealthy family and it was worth kidnapping me for ransom. I really have no idea. This is really just speculation. But yeah, those were all things that kind of seemed like they could have been going on. I'll never really know, I suppose. But yeah, so just things for people to know. So yeah, so I guess I'll leave it there. And I mean, if there's anything you guys want clarity on, or there's anything you want me to go more in detail about, I definitely can.
So, so I would like to ask Brittany, how can people help you? Because you've got some deadlines, you've got people waiting on production, you've got this whole thing that just has now stopped. How can we get you to get it rolling real quick?
So I'm doing right now a launch for my business. Like I was trying to figure out a way to raise money, but that also provides value for people. I'm very like fair energy exchange. I mean, there's the option to donate. I can put my information here. You can put it in the description box. I'll provide it like my personal like business account, basically. And I did a work launch for my business, Wevolve. So everything in the Wevolve shop until the end of February is going to be 50% off. I'm a health practitioner, I'm a naturopath and chronic disease expert. I work all the time with people that are really sick with chronic illnesses that can't be healed. I myself have had a ton of chronic illnesses. I had cancer in my mid 20s, four autoimmune diseases, multiple surgeries, and I was basically sick since infancy and I healed myself completely naturally. So I have a health-based business. So I'm offering a bunch of health products at a massive discount. So anybody who purchases a health product from the shop, 100% of that money is going to go towards repurchasing equipment. So there's donation, purchasing equipment. Our song is already set in motion. Our band is called Bremi, capital Bremi. It's my name, Brittany, my boyfriend's name, Emilio, basically Emmy and Britt. And the song is called War with You, and it'll be available for purchase on different streaming sites this coming Saturday. The music video will not be ready because it's just impossible. We wouldn't get the gear on time anyways. But the song is going to be available, and people can purchase the song and help support us. I mean, we're going to be buying equipment for the next little while, but we're really hoping to get donations or create sales for my business that can generate relatively quickly because I'm already with what we've ordered. I've like maxed my line of credit. I've gotten a good amount of donations, so I think we're like, on a good path to it. But as soon as we have that equipment, we can continue with all of our projects and hopefully still get into the film festivals. The film is called Beneath the Shadow of Time, and anybody who donates or purchases anything from Wevolve right now to help support our projects, to help us repurchase the equipment that we need, actually, is going to have their name in the credits of the film Beneath the Shadow of Time, which is going to air maybe like in 4 or 5 months from now in Jalapa and Mexico City, and it'll be in the festivals and stuff. And we're also at the premiere going to offer you a free ticket to come to the premiere, and yeah, basically just like say a personal thank you and just give you a hug for kind of like saving us out of a really tough situation. So yeah, I'll send you that information if people are interested.
Santos, you're muted. Just unmute, please.
Thank you very much, Brittany, for sharing your story with us. And I'm sure the listeners will be very, very supportive on this channel for people
Oh,
like you. So um, I wish you all the best, sister. And we, we probably should keep in touch and, make sure that we support each other and help you out.
And,
thank you so, so much. I just
and
wanted to say thank you so much.
Brittany, I also want to share just a little bit of background about my good friend Santos. And we met in Puerto Morelos when he was living down here in Quintana Roo. And I know Santos is no stranger to robbery. I remember so clearly the day that you got your place broken into, Santos, and they stole your Mac and your whole work, all of your work, how devastating that was to you, and how we had to scramble into motion and try to get a replacement for you in the US. Remember that, Santos? How devastated you were at that time, and that thing happened. So you're no stranger to this kind of atrocity. When this happens to you, it's so real, and it's so raw, and it's so violating when you have
Ugh.
someone break into your house like they broke into Santos' house and just stole his work, and his life gets uprooted. And I mean, a little background about Santos, and he sometimes doesn't give himself enough credit. He's a what do you call it again, Santos? What's the best way to describe your channel? You're an astrologist at best, or describe yourself for your audience, because I don't think you give yourself enough accolades, and I want to take a moment and just do that so the audience, you're going to get lots of new audience because of this, a lot of new subscribers. But if you would describe yourself for just a second, Santos, what you do and your readings and all the work that goes into your life and your energy and your Australian background and coming to Mexico during this crazy time. Share, please, Santos, just a minute for the audience.
Well, in one word, I'm a syncretist. A syncretist syncretizes and unifies all fields of human knowledge, theologies, mythologies, cosmologies, etc. They are all one. And syncretism shows how you can see this. You can see that all sciences are one. And it's called the perennial philosophy. So I'm just teaching the perennial philosophy that has always been and always will be. That's it, syncretist.
Now, also,
Like
Santos,
it.
your move from Australia to Mexico. I mean, I would just love for you to share, just real briefly, what caused you to get out of Australia? I know you were persecuted. I watched the videos and all the truths that you would share, and you became under the heaviest fire by the Australian government. They even locked you up or tried to lock you up in prison and all that. It was such a fascinating time to meet you, because I met you through a friend, and I didn't know who you were. And then later on, I discovered who you were, Santos. And you could share a little bit, what made you get out of Australia and come to Mexico, and all the things that happened on that journey. Just a brief moment on that topic. I would love for you to share that.
It was a time for me to change. I was thinking of moving to Sardinia because I have a Euro passport as well. So I'm a Euro citizen as well as Australian. So I thought it's one of the blue zones in the world. There's three where people live over 100. All the people, like they're all old. So there are no young people there. The houses are vacant. You can get something for $1,000 a little.
Right, I think you froze, Santos. So when you're back, you're just frozen. Your audio stopped. So I'm just gonna pick it up so
And
Santos
then
can.
came back.
Oh, there he is.
Uh,
You're back,
yeah,
Santos.
yeah. So instead of going to Sardinia, I decided to come to the Americas, and then I came to Mexico for a visa run, and COVID happened, and I got stuck here. So that was 6 years ago, and I'm still here.
And
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Hmm.
we met Santos in the very beginning, and I remember the day we launched your 300,000 subscriber on your YouTube channel. Do you remember that, Santos? When we met up with Esta Stone and we had that celebration, and it was so special those times. And we walked Fifth Avenue, and I can still remember all these people meeting you, wanting your autograph right on the street. I'm like, holy smokes, who are we with here? Who is this guy really? Like, it was amazing to me. We went to a vegan restaurant, and Santos right away had a group of people around him, and it's like I didn't know these people, but they sure knew him wherever he walked. And it was very clear to me who I had met here. And then, of course, meeting through Danny, his partner back then, meeting Estas Tone and developing that amazing, beautiful relationship with him and having him perform live for us at the Vista Caribe. And people were joining Lifeway, like just on the spot, like $300 to get into this. Let me join. Let me get a package. Let me join. I want to join Lifewave so I can come to this Santos and this Estas Tone live event that we hosted. And it was recorded. It was on his YouTube channel, and it got strucken down. Just so you know, his YouTube channel got taken away. But he's celebrating right now
No,
because
no,
his YouTube channel's
it,
back, right?
yeah, it's
Or you
back.
pick up
It's
the
all
story
back.
there, Santos.
Yeah, I got the channel back.
You got the channel back, so that's
Yeah, so
awesome.
so this recording will go onto the uh, the file from you. It'll be uploaded onto that channel.
Beautiful, beautiful. And if you decide to do the same, Brittany, I'll let you guys decide that. But I want to thank you, Brittany. You became real special to me and through my friend Jared and James and other mutual friends that we had. And I just thought there was something really, really special about you. And I still remember so clearly, Brittany, when we came back on that food run from Bacalar's Midnight Foods and stuff, and you would be there and purchasing it like Jared would be. And it was so amazing. And I asked you for health advice. And I knew you were an incredible coach for health and wellness, and we are so connected with health practitioners, people like yourself from We Evolve. And I remember you gave me some methylene blue and some magnesium back then, and you didn't even charge me. And you know what? That stuck with me. I still owe Brittany for that. So I went into her site last night, did a little test purchase on We Evolve using my PayPal just to show a little support and just open that gate up, make sure that gateway was working, and it all worked fine. So any of you that were touched by Brittany's story and want to contribute, I mean, this lady is a genius. I'm going to tell you right now, she's a genius when it comes to the human health and all the medallions associated with that. And Santos is also an artist, just so you know, Brittany. Santos has a passion for music. And maybe in closing, Santos, you can talk about your mutual interest in music because I've listened to some of your music and I've watched Santos perform in Puerto Morelos for his birthday party 2 years in a row. And he would play the guitar, he would play the music. You guys have a mutual interest and a love for music that I think is a common connection that's going to last a lifetime here. So maybe sometimes you can talk about your music, give a little plug here as well, and your passion for LifeWave phototherapy, which of course is where my passion is stem cell technology activation. And now you love that as well, Santos. Maybe take a moment on that subject as well in closing here.
Yeah, so music has been a part of my life since I was a very, very young boy. So I mainly play the Spanish flamenco guitars. So I've always been doing the Latin jazz flamenco genre thing that the Gypsy Kings made famous in the 80s. So I went to see them in 89 in Melbourne, the Gypsy Kings, when they were really hot. And I just started playing their sort of music from then on, and that was pretty much my profession, music. And then syncretism came, and I just moved straight on into syncretism.
Wow, I love that. We should do a collaboration. I'll send you my track. I was doing cover songs before about world events though. So I was changing the lyrics to talk about important world events like, things against medical fraud and just many different things. But yeah, so anyway, I have a big passion for making music that kind of like means something, you know, or is personal or touches people. And yeah, I love that.
Beautiful, Brittany. And you have so much in common with Santos. There's more things that you have in common than you're even aware of right now, because I know this man really well for a lot of years and I've helped him. I'll do anything for Santos because he's just so dear to my heart, and we just love him. And we promised a trip down to Chiapas where he's living now. He left us here in Quintana Roo. We miss him immensely, our tribe here. But the health and wellness mission that he's been on and some of the things that he's been under attack and some health things, I think there's a match made in heaven here between you and him, and the collaboration that could continue will last a lifetime. I'll promise you that. So it's really special. You're both really, really special. I'm sitting between two beautiful people here on the screen, and just amazing hearts that will go out of their way to bring messages like this to you, the viewer that's watching here today. Take the information Brittany gave very seriously if you're traveling, and it can happen anywhere in the world, and it can happen to anyone. And Santos is no stranger to having health issues like you've had, Brittany. And I met Santos. The first thing I did is put some X39 on the back of his neck and glutathione on him during a music festival. We were both filming at this music festival in Puerto Morelos. And that's where I really connected with Santos. And I believe that was back in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, right, Santos? And the relationship has just been incredible. And he's involved with our tribe, and Roger and Corolla here and Kai Jacobson on here. They're part of the Lifeway community. And that's an area that I would seriously invite you to, Brittany, on a real passionate level. And I'll open the doors up to so many directions. It is mind numbing what can come of this. But all aside, we're just so thankful that you're alive, Brittany, to tell this story. It is so special. And I talked to your best friend, Jared, again, as a real dear friend of mine yesterday. And he's just like, oh, I'm just so thankful that Brittany's alive. She's here, and she's so courageous to come out and talk about this, that she's not hiding somewhere under a table and behind a locked door and saying, I'm not going to face the reality of this situation. I'm not going to share this. I won't say a word. I'm so proud of you, Brittany, and I'm proud of you, Santos, for just continuing on your perseverance, your mission day to day. I watch you feeding those horses and your love for horses, and in those Chiapas videos. I love it. Keep them coming, Santos. So you're just beautiful people. Love you both immensely. And I'll let Santos put the wrap on this recording here. Thank you, Santos and Brittany.
Thank you.
All right, Peter. So you can close off, I guess.
All right, we'll close the recording. Thank you, everyone. Get back to Santos and Brittany if you want any more information about anything that we talked about on this recording today.